Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. This week we're going to be talking about the Amazon horror story and all the ways that your business can go bad. So, guys, we always are talking about the benefits of Amazon. We're always talking about how, you can scale a business pretty easy. There's all these different, tips and tricks and tools you can use. And, there's a lot that can go right. There's a lot of ways you can do Amazon right. You can make a lot of money. You can be successful. And it's all great. But there's also a lot of ways that Amazon can go wrong. And we thought this week, because of Halloween, we'd go over some of the scary things that can happen to you as an Amazon seller, and we could talk about them a little bit. So, without further ado, first scary thing that can happen to you is you don't hit performance metrics. So on Amazon, there's a whole bunch of different metrics that they want you to hit. Order defect rate, on-time shipment rate, all different kinds of metrics that they expect their sellers to live up to these standards and hit them. And when you don't make these standards, a lot of bad things can happen to you. You can start to lose your Prime eligibility. You can start having restrictions placed on your account. You can, be suspended or even worse, completely kicked off the platform. So it's a really bad thing that can happen. And in order to avoid it, it's really important to just keep on top of your metrics. Keep on checking into them. And when you notice that something isn't right, make sure you know how to go out and fix it. If for some reason something does go awry and Amazon reaches out to you or they suspend your account or something, you're going to have to submit what is known as a plan of action. And that's kind of you telling Amazon how you're going to make changes, what you're going to do differently next time to make yourself better. The next way that Amazon can turn into a horror story, if you have an item that gets flagged for safety or if it gets taken down from negative comments and reviews. And that happens a lot. A lot of times you can have a listing taken down for a negative customer experience, all because a customer doesn't understand the product. They write to Amazon. And, we go over this in a lot of the other videos, but the best thing you can do to avoid having this nightmare come to fruition is to make sure that you are as clear as possible in your description. Don't oversell, don't undersell. Be super clear. Use great photos. Great photos allow your customer to see exactly what they're getting. And, just overall, don't be misleading. If it so happens that, your listing gets shut down, once again, you're going to be given the opportunity to make some changes, submit a plan of action, and hopefully they reinstate the item. Sometimes they won't, especially with a safety complaint. The most common one of those is used sold as new, which, I've gotten one or two of those out of the blue for no reason. And sometimes Amazon will reinstate your item once you give them proof of purchasing, from a supplier or whatever. But sometimes they won't. And that's when this becomes a really bad thing, because then you're stuck with all that inventory. You go out, you buy a container of something, and all of a sudden you can't sell it on their platform anymore. So, like I said, this is a really big horror story that I see happen to a lot of sellers. Just Google the seller forums. You'll see tons of people talking about it. I got a complaint, and all of a sudden my item, I can't sell it anymore. Happens all the time. The next big spooky thing that can happen to you is you can hit restrictions on the amount of inventory you can send. So, they have these normal everyday limits, but sometimes for the holidays, sometimes like when we had the coronavirus just started up, and there was a shortage at the warehouses, they'll restrict what you can send. They'll say you can only send so much, or you can only send these types of items, or whatever. And when this happens, it can shut somebody's entire business down. And a lot of times what I recommend to people to avoid, having this come to fruition, getting to that point where it's, I can't send any more inventory to Amazon. In order to get around that, I recommend having a backup plan. Are you going to fulfill yourself? Are you going to use a 3PL? Is there somewhere else I can put this merchandise till I'm able to send it to Amazon? And hopefully there's a way I can fulfill that, whether it's through yourself, whether it's through, a third-party company like a 3PL. And, you can keep your business moving, because when your business grinds to a halt for a couple weeks and possibly even months because Amazon decides Oh, that's as much stuff as you can send us right now. That becomes a really big problem. Next, along the same lines, another way this nightmare can also spiral out of control is with storage fees. So as you guys know, when things enter long-term storage, they can get really expensive. Amazon doesn't like things to sit in their warehouse. They like things to come in and go out. If something ends up sitting in an Amazon fulfillment center for months, years, it can end up costing you a lot of money. Amazon also charges more sometimes around the holiday season. So with Amazon, these storage costs can get really expensive really quick. And you might say, that's really not a huge deal, I'll just take some of it back. Well, Amazon also charges removal fees, and these removal fees are, relatively hefty. So you can incur a lot of fees to have a product returned to you, or you can incur a lot of fees to let it sit there. And sometimes these storage fees can cancel out the profit you make. So it's really important to make sure that you're not overstocking Amazon, that you're not, going to run into these long-term storage fees that are going to make your account not profitable. The scariest thing that I find that can happen, and it happens all the time, is a bad review. And not just any kind of bad review. Bad reviews, we all know they're bad. A bad review out of the gates. You just put that item up, it's been up for 5 days, and all of a sudden, bad review. First review's bad. That can absolutely kill an item, absolutely destroy an item. And because of this, what I want to recommend is that you guys, start with friends and family. When you're introducing an item, it's your first time selling on Amazon, sell it to the people in your own network. Go put it out on Facebook. Like, hey, I started a small business. If anybody could support me, that's great. And, you can't pander for a review, but hopefully your friends and family like you and they'll leave one. There's lots of different ways to, go for that review. Go above and beyond with customer service. Make sure that customers are getting a good value. Do everything you can to make sure you're getting positive reviews, because positive reviews lead to more sales and put more money in your pocket. But when you get that initial negative review, make sure you respond to it. Make sure you take the feedback to heart. If it's something you can change, go ahead and fix it. If it's something that Amazon did, something Amazon can control, like Amazon sent it late, it was an FBA shipment, maybe you can appeal that. Maybe you can try to have that removed. Usually that doesn't work, but it's worth a shot. I've seen it 1 or 2 times here and there. You want to do everything you can in your power to prevent that negative first review, but also do what you can on the back end to kind of mitigate the damage. Because you need people to know that you stand behind your products and that, you're going to make right on that. So, make sure you get a hold of that person. Make sure you offer a return. Do everything you can to make that right, because you want to start off every product with good reviews and happy customers, because that's how you make money on Amazon. And it's scary when you get that bad review. The last scary thing I want to talk about selling on Amazon is the competition. And a lot of people come out here and they say, you can't make any money on Amazon. There's too much competition. And what they're referring to is probably the same thing I'm referring to. And that is, it's not that there's too much competition. There's plenty of customers out there for everybody. If you want to be a successful Amazon seller, there's a product that'll work for you. There's a strategy that'll work for you, and you can be successful. But there's too many people out here that they find, oh wow, product. They find it on Alibaba, or they find it, just by Googling the web. And all of a sudden you're one of 15 people selling that same nifty, catchy gadget. For example, fidget spinners. We talked about fidget spinners a couple videos back in a fad video. And, if you have 1,000 different people selling fidget spinners, somebody's going to be the loser. And what's scary here is when you buy a product and you see 3, 4, 5 identical products, that factory's just pumping them out, selling them to all different kinds of people who are trying to distribute that product on Amazon. And it's creating this, race to the bottom. So my advice to you is, when you're going to buy a product, get out there, research it. Really try to dig down and find out, what is different about this one than all the other similar ones on there. is the exact same product on Amazon already, and what are they selling it for? Because the second you put your product on Amazon and you put it at a lower price point, they're going to put theirs at a lower price point. And then you get a price war, and then you don't make any money. So you want to make sure that you have some advantage. You have some edge. No matter what it is, you need to do something to make yourself stand apart from everybody else that is selling that exact same item, hopping on that exact same trend, and you got to stand apart. Because if you don't stand apart, that's when, this big boogeyman of competition that everybody talks about is the reason you don't want to sell on Amazon is going to come gobble you up. Because, like I said, there is no competition if you make yourself your own path. You do something different. You innovate. But if you're just going to sell the same widget as everybody else, it becomes a price-only decision, and you could find yourself very quickly ran out of the Amazon business. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed, Amazon horror stories. If you guys have any horror stories that I didn't cover, put them down in the comments section. I'm sure we'll get a lot of really good ones. Things go wrong with Amazon all the time, but if you guys also have some success, go ahead and put that down there. Tell us, what's something you've done that you're proud about. How has your business grown? What have you seen be successful? And, let's share some tips, both do's and don'ts down below. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Give us a like, give us a share. We're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000. That's our new goal. We just hit 500 a couple weeks ago, and we're going for that 1,000. So, thank you guys so much for checking us out. We'll see you next week.